Watchlist, an essential tool for every trader. In this video, I'll show you how to set up your watch list on Robinhood Legend, our brand new browser-based trading platform. We'll create a watch list from scratch, customize it, and link it to other widgets within Legend. And most importantly, I'll show you how to place a trade directly from your watch list. Let's get started. I'm staring at a blank layout in Robinhood Legend. I've named this layout watch list. And the first thing we'll do is click add widget and add a watch list to the layout. We can do this one of two ways. We can click watch list and that will add it in a predetermined position on our screen. We can also take a widget and drag it from the menu and place it where we see fit. And if we need to delete that widget, click the settings menu, delete widget. All right, so let's take a look at this first watch list that we've added to our screen. Now this is a brand new account. I've never used it before. I haven't made a watch list. So by default, you're gonna see this watch list called My First List. It'll be a series of stocks. These aren't recommendations to buy or sell these securities. They're just ways to sort of populate your watch list and get you going as you make your first watch list. Now taking a look at the widget, you can see at the top left-hand corner, we have our linking group feature. So if we had other widgets on the screen, we can link this watch list to other widgets. Over on the right, we have a plus button. So if we wanted to add a symbol to this watch list, we could type in a symbol. Let's just pick a random one. I'm going to use Bank of America, and we can select it with our mouse. We can click the plus here if we want to keep this menu up. So it's a nice feature. If we wanted to add a stock and not have this menu stay visible, we can click on the list. The other way that we can add a symbol to this watch list is clicking the bottom here at the last entry of the list, and there, that menu that we just saw at the top of our screen is now visible at the bottom. So let's say we wanted to add Lululemon to this. We click that, and there Lululemon is now on our screen. And notice, even though I added it at the bottom of the screen, because this list is sorted by symbol in alphabetical order, it's automatically going to populate that based on where it fits within the list. Okay, so we've added some symbols to our watch list, but how do we remove one? Simple. Go to whichever symbol on the list we want to get rid of. Let's just pick Rivian. And you go to the three-dot menu here on the right, and there's our remove button. And now Rivian is off of our watch list. All right, next in the upper right-hand corner, we have our settings menu, just as we have in all of the other widgets in Robinhood Legend. When we click on that, we can do a few things. We can customize these columns that we see visible. We can edit the name of our watch list, and we can delete the entire widget. First things first, let's add some data points to this watch list. Now you'll see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 data points by default visible. But if we want to add more, we can just simply click the check mark box to the right of the data point, and you'll notice as I'm doing this, more data points are coming onto our watch list. And if I scroll down, there's a lot of data points we can add to the watch list. So whichever data points are important to you, figure out which ones are valuable, which ones you want to show and display. Use what you want to use. This is all about personal preference and what's important to you as a trader or investor. Let's get out of this menu for a second, and you'll notice as I added those data points, as I said, more data became visible. And what that allows us to do now is scroll left and right on our mouse to see those data points while still keeping the widget in the position that we originally started. Now, if I want to resize this widget, we can do that as simply as grabbing the edge of the widget and stretching this out. And I'm just going to go out to where we have data visible. And now you can see, I can see the entire suite of data that I've added without having to scroll my mouse back and forth. Now, once you have all of the data that you want visible on your watch list, you can sort, move around columns, resize columns very simply. To sort by column, simply click the column header. So maybe we want to quickly scan the stocks on this watch list with the highest market cap. I'm going to click the market cap column here, and notice that we are now sorting this list in largest market cap to smallest market cap based on where this arrow is pointing. And if I want to do the reverse of that, I'll click the column header, and now we're sorting by the smallest market cap on this watch list with the largest at the bottom. Maybe you want to move some columns around. Well, that's simple too. We can grab the column header and move this to the position that we prefer. I'm going to move it to the front of our watch list. I want to see that last price for that stock front and center on the left side of my watch list. We can also resize columns. Maybe there's some data that you want to see a larger area. Maybe something is truncated. For example, maybe it looks like that on your screen. Remember, you can just sort of move that until you see those numbers, or like you can with other columns and widgets, double click the side of this, and then that will snap it so that all of the data based on the longest string of data within that column is visible. Let's go back to sorting by alphabetical order. The other thing we can do is we can change the name of the watch list. So we can do that one of two ways. We can double click in the actual name of the watch list, and let's just change this to Demo Video Watch List. And now we've renamed the watch list. The other way that we can do that is we can go to the settings menu and edit name. And now it's essentially activated that field where before we just double clicked in it. So multiple ways that you can change the name of your watch list. Now you might be wondering, how do you make a new watch list? Well, it's pretty simple. We're going to go to this drop down menu under the watch list name, and we'll select new watch list. And here we have a blank brand new watch list to build. So give me a minute. I'm going to build this watch list. We'll be back in just a second. Okay, so I'm done creating my watch list. I've named it Obi's watch list. Let's clean this up a little bit. I'm gonna make this a watch list where it's just sort of on this left-hand side of my monitor, and we'll add a chart widget and connect the two so we can quickly navigate through this watch list and look at some charts. So first thing I'm gonna do to clean this up is go to the Customize Columns menu, and I'm gonna get rid of everything but last, net change, and percent change. So to do that, I'm just unchecking all of the boxes below here. You'll see this data starting to disappear from my screen. Scroll down and make sure we got all of those removed, and there you go. We've got last, net change, and percent change. Get out of that, and then let's resize the widget. And perfect. Let's give it a little room, and I'm going to show you why here in a second. Next, let's add a chart widget. And let's make this the size of the rest of the screen. And then now that I have my chart widget added, let's just put on a 1-year chart. And notice at the top left-hand corner, both of these have a blue square. This means that these widgets are linked together. And this is a valuable feature, especially with the watch list, because it allows you to quickly navigate through a list of stocks as opposed to building individual symbols within the chart widget. So for example, if I'm clicking through this watch list, you'll notice with a simple click of my mouse button, the chart on the right is changing. So this allows you to quickly navigate through a list of stocks that you're interested in, take a look at the chart, move back and forth through that watch list, as opposed to going in here and with each sort of search looking for a new stock symbol. Instead, build the stocks you're interested in your watch list and then click through with the linking feature. Now, the other thing we can do is we can trade from the watch list. You'll notice as I hover my mouse over any symbol within the watch list, a trade button appears on the right side of the screen next to the settings menu. So let's put on a position. I'm just going to pick a random stock on this list. Let's buy shares of Cisco. So to do that, I'm going to click trade, and the order ticket will appear on our screen. And here we can choose between buying or selling. In this case, we're going to buy shares. Let's put this in at a market order. And let's buy, I'm just going to say 3 shares of Cisco. And notice there as I change that quantity, that amount, that estimated cost value is going to change from the price of 1 to 157. So that's just multiplying the market price by the amount of shares I want to buy, giving me all the relevant information at the bottom of the order ticket. And when we're ready to place that order, we'll hit buy Cisco. Our market order to buy 3 shares of Cisco was submitted and filled. Now I want you to notice something is there's this symbol sitting next to the stock symbol for Cisco, which is CSCO. It's this little circle with a check mark. And if I hover my mouse over that, it lets me know that I have 3 shares of stock in this symbol. All right, for this last part of the video, I'm going to show you how to set up a multi-monitor setup and have multiple watch lists on your layout at one time. So to set this up, I've set up on my left monitor here my account summary widget, orders, and positions widget, and I've left this half of the screen blank. On the right side, we have the layout that we were just working on earlier in the video, which is our Obi's watch list and our chart. Those are linked. Meanwhile, our positions and orders are linked with a different color. So if we move through this watch list on the right-hand monitor, it's going to update the chart. It's not going to update our orders and positions widget. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a second watch list widget to my left monitor. Do it the same way as we did earlier in the video. I'll click Add Widget, and we'll select Watch List, and there you can see it's already prepping a watch list to get dropped into our layout. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this one a little bit larger. So this is the benefit of having a 2-monitor setup. Maybe on my right monitor, I want a truncated watch list with just some specific information linked to the chart. But maybe on my left monitor, I want a different watch list with different information. So the first thing we're going to do, you'll notice we have the same watch list on each monitor. Let's change this one back to that demo video watch list we were working on earlier in the video. Now we have 2 different watch lists appearing on our screen, different symbols, as well as different data points. And we can customize this just like we did earlier in the video by adding new data points, making more information visible, and we can also add more symbols. So just going through this list, let's just add a few more stocks to this, and then make this watch list fill up our screen. Okay, so now I've added more data points, I've added more symbols, I've filled up this entire screen space with this new multi-watch list setup. And so what's the advantage of this? Well, once again, it gives you the opportunity to quickly move through a list of stocks on one of your screen while still having it connected to a widget. Meanwhile, over here, in this setup, this would be more like a monitor setup for me where I'm keeping an eye on my account balance, my orders, my positions, and maybe I just put in a watch list here of just stocks that for some reason you have interest in. Maybe you want to trade them, maybe they're just there for you to help monitor the market. It's totally up to you. The point being is you can set up 2 different watch lists. You can set up more than 2, but in this case we've set up 2, we've renamed them. They have different linking features. So just showing off some of the customization within Robinhood Legend. At the end of the day, that's the beauty of Robinhood Legend. You can customize it, make layouts, link, unlink. It's totally up to you. There's no wrong answers. But when it comes to the watch list, this is a crucial widget to have on your screen. It lets you navigate through stock symbols quickly, and most importantly, keep an eye on the market during the trading day. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe for more tips and tutorials on Robinhood Legend. Have a question? Drop it below in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Happy trading. I'll see you in the next video.